Spotting a vulnerable narcissist can be surprisingly tricky, and this is the part most people miss. While the word narcissist is thrown around casually these days, its true meaning is far more complex and often misunderstood. Many use it simply to describe someone selfish, but in psychological terms, it refers to narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, a serious mental health condition. Among the various types of narcissists, the vulnerable narcissist stands out because they don't fit the loud, attention-grabbing stereotype. Instead, they tend to be more introverted but vulnerable narcissists seek attention in a quieter, less obvious way. Rodriguez points out, both overt and vulnerable narcissists share core traits like a lack of empathy and a deep need to feel superior, but their approaches differ significantly. Understanding how to recognize a vulnerable narcissist is crucial. Why? Because knowing their underlying motivations empowers you to set healthy boundaries and avoid falling into manipulative traps. Rodriguez warns, vulnerable narcissists can be emotionally draining due to their constant need for validation, hypersensitivity, and tendency to play the victim. Spotting these signs early helps protect your emotional health and prevents destructive relationship patterns that can chip away at your self-esteem. So, how do vulnerable narcissists differ from their overt counterparts? The key lies in how their narcissistic traits show up and how they handle their self-worth and emotions. Here's a breakdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Self-esteem. Overt narcissists usually have an inflated ego and an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They openly believe they're superior and expect admiration and special treatment. Vulnerable narcissists, on the other hand, have fragile self-esteem that depends heavily on external validation. Internally, they wrestle with self-doubt and insecurity. 2. Response to criticism. Overt narcissists often brush off criticism with disdain or anger, rarely showing that it truly affects them. Vulnerable narcissists are highly sensitive to criticism, reacting with deep hurt, anxiety, or withdrawal. Their responses can sometimes be passive-aggressive. 3. Behavior in social settings. Overt narcissists are extroverted, dominant, and thrive on being the center of attention, often displaying arrogance. Vulnerable narcissists tend to be introverted, reserved, and may appear anxious or insecure. Relationships. Overt narcissists manipulate through charm and confidence, often keeping relationships shallow and focused on their own needs. Vulnerable narcissists manipulate from a place of emotional vulnerability, using guilt and victimhood to gain validation. Their relationships can be unstable due to their fluctuating feelings of hurt and approval seeking. 5. Emotional regulation. Overt narcissists usually maintain a facade of strength and control, rarely showing vulnerability. Vulnerable narcissists struggle with managing emotions like anxiety and sadness, often swinging between feelings of inferiority and grandiosity. Rodriguez sums it up. Why both types crave attention and validation. Vulnerable narcissists do so in a more subtle, fragile manner, whereas overt narcissists are bold and dominant. Both can cause harm in relationships, but they require different approaches to handle effectively. Now, they're masters at hiding behind a mask of sensitivity and often present themselves as people in need of support. They skillfully adapt their behavior depending on who they're with, expertly manipulating emotions to get what they want. Here are 10 common traits to watch for. 1. Overly reactive to criticism, even when it's constructive. 2. Constantly seeking validation and approval to feel worthy. 3. Harboring envy and resentment toward others' successes. sometimes even attempting to undermine them. 4. Frequently casting themselves as victims, blaming others for their problems. 5. Struggling to build trusting, healthy relationships. 6. Exhibiting covert grandiosity, low self-esteem paired with fantasies of superiority. 7. Experiencing rapid mood swings, shifting from feeling superior to inferior quickly. 8. Using emotional manipulation tactics like guilt, pity, or anger to influence others. 9. Avoiding direct conflict, expressing anger through sarcasm or subtle sabotage. 10. Dodging responsibility for their actions. If you're wondering what it's like to be in a relationship with a vulnerable narcissist, brace yourself for complexity. Rodriguez explains that although their behavior isn't as overtly aggressive as classic narcissists, their hypersensitivity, relentless need for validation, and victim mentality can create exhausting dynamics. Here's why relationships with vulnerable narcissists can be so challenging. Their constant craving for approval can place a heavy emotional burden on partners or friends who may feel pressured to provide endless reassurance. Their thin-skinned nature means people around them often have to walk on eggshells, avoiding honest conversations to prevent hurt feelings. Passive-aggressive behaviors like sarcasm, withdrawal, or persistent complaints can build tension without resolving issues. Their tendency to see themselves as victims often leads to blaming others and shirking responsibility, making conflict resolution difficult. Insecurity and jealousy may manifest as controlling or possessive actions, which can feel suffocating. Emotional instability causes unpredictable mood swings, from self-pity to anger, making coexistence draining. All these factors combined can make relationships with vulnerable narcissists emotionally exhausting. The ongoing need to support them, tiptoe around their feelings, and manage their indirect hostility. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about the fine line between empathy and enabling.